It is Jim. It's 9:01 a.m. in San Francisco, California on October the 21st. Please note that all discussions, analysis, and information presented are for general informational and educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial or any other form of professional advice. So, quick AMC update, or not so quick. We'll see how this goes. But it's finally time to post another video. It's worth the time to post another video, in my view. A quick look here at the timing of the past videos I've done and the screaming buy signals that the behavioral analysis model has triggered. They've all worked, and they've only been stopped by announcements from herein, the CEO of AMC. But if we go back and look at the model during the April-May period when we were under accumulation, the stock was under accumulation for the behavioral analysis model. We had that really nice move to the upside. This one here also, we were accumulating calls, had that 25% spike to the upside. 8-7 was a screaming buy and worked for a one-day event into, that was 8-7 was a Thursday, and then we had 8-8 Friday, and then into the spike on Monday. Same thing as far as the catalyst for stopping the advance. Price comes down again. We trigger another screaming buy right here on 9.95, and the stock takes off into 10.2, and then we're triggering another one here. Always encouraging when a buy signal, whether it's a regular buy signal or screaming buy just means that the stock has sort of inverted into the front end of a zone of strength in my work. And so it's basically, in my model, saying, hey, price is going in the wrong direction, and we want to, if it's moving to the upside, we want to fade strength. If it's moving to the downside, we want to fade weakness, meaning do the opposite of. So here you go. The stock, again, triggering a screaming buy yesterday. Looks pretty firm so far today. And then we have this zone of strength ahead. I'm not going to, this is a completely different chart view than I'm showing members. I'm not going to call out specific dates for this YouTube post, but in general, this is tail end of October into November. First thing we want to see is this attack of this 335 hidden retest level. Once a hidden retest level's hit, it turns into vibration. So again, this fast market move decline right here is what creates the A wave, and then contact will be B, C, D, E, and then stock's ready to take off to the next level. One thing that's really interesting about this setup, and it's the reason why this chart looks a little bit noisy here, the significance of this thick blue uptrend line is that that's the lower uptrend line of an expanding megaphone melt-up fractal pattern. This thick black dotted line is the speed line that's associated with this expanding megaphone melt-up fractal. And the significance of that is that there's a very specific set of wave patterns that price has to follow through on in order to create an expanding megaphone melt-up fractal. You can see a chart pattern that looks like an expanding pattern. Let me make this even a little bit bigger. You can have a pattern that's expanding, and it still doesn't fit the rules of my expanding megaphone melt-up fractal. The significance of the melt-up fractal is that once price moves back above this uptrend line and into the megaphone, meaning between the speed line and the uptrend line, then what you typically get is a very fast market price move that wants to actually attack the speed line. So that's considered the parent fractal in what you're looking at here on this chart. Now this thinner blue uptrend line and this thinner black dotted speed line, those are associated with a nesting child fractal. So again, this is the parent, point of origin way back here on April the 3rd. And then inside it, we have a point of origin April the 30th, and it creates this, what's called a child nesting fractal. And it just so happens that it is also an expanding megaphone melt-up fractal. Fits all the rules. Let me clean this up a little bit. Fits all of the rules of my wave action human emotion wave action to call it an expanding megaphone melt-up fractal. So what'll happen here, first off, we need to see price track directionally, okay? Meaning we attack, AMC attacks $3.35, this hidden retest level. If that happens, obviously price will be above this thick blue uptrend line, so it will have re-entered the expanding pattern. Once that happens, the only thing that's slowing the advance down is the fact that, historically speaking, price tends to go through my minimum ABCDE vibration sequence. But this is a fairly small fractal that's created, this tiny fractal here that's created that setup. So, my rule is that the amount of time from this low to this high, that's about the amount of time that the vibration sequence should require. So you're only talking about less than a session of messing around on that vibration level prior to moving to the upside. So again, it's more consistent on a reentry to see a really large price move. If we get reentry and price shoots all the way to $4 or whatever, odds are very high that it will slam right back down again and take care of the vibration sequence at 335. So we'd start to get a wild trading range, which isn't a bad thing. It's actually pretty typical before either a melt-up or a crash to see what's called stretching the tape, or a broadening trading range. It's sort of like, I've talked about it in the past, if you've ever been to a circus and you see a clown car, you see the wobbling wheel that's about to fall off. It's sort of like that. The expanding price range is the early signal that something's about to temporarily break to the upside or the downside. So again, this is the parent fractal. If we start to take a look at what the upside price targets are for this particular pattern, you'll notice that on the way up to revisit the overhead speed line, okay, in either the parent fractal or this child fractal, we start to have plenty of room to the upside. What's interesting is you start to see a whole series of retest levels that act as catalysts to carry price higher and higher and higher. What can happen in a setup like this is that you can see price move through all of these in what's called a cascade, and then attack the speed line and then move all the way back down through all of them. I mean, this is the part of this that's going to be a little tricky, even if the stock takes off to the upside, is for me personally, figuring out whether or not I want to be actively trading the calls or if I just want to, hang on tight. What I usually do in a setup like this is I'll split up my expiration exposure, and I'll have, maybe a 3-month expiration on the batch of calls that I want to hold tight, not get cute, not try to trade in and out of, and then sort of another batch of a 30-day exposure, and actively trade those, so that if I mess up, trade out of something, and the stock just melts up on me, I have that March exposure to take care of that, so that I'm not left on the sidelines. Also, I just found it just gives me the confidence to trade more actively when I know that I've got a core position. So this is what this looks like. And again, if I take a look at the speed line price levels for this fractal, it's not crazy, but as a percentage gain, it's compelling enough for me to have long exposure to calls. So again, if all these hidden retest levels are attacked and price attacks the speed line during October or November, first we'll look at October targets. So the parent fractal, expanding megaphone melt-up fractal, would be like $7.70 if it happened during October. yeah, call it $7.50 to $8. And if the price were to jump the parent fractal speed line and then attack this nesting child fractal speed line, then what you would have during October would be anywhere from $11.50 to $12.50. So you see the way this is, I'm laying this out. This is sort of a, in my mind at least, a conservative version of an aggressive call, meaning I believe price will track my model directionally. And if it does track my model directionally, then it's pretty obvious that price has these hidden retest levels as bogeys to attack. You know, again, price would have re-entered both the parent fractal uptrend line, the nesting child fractal uptrend line, and then it just sets in motion price to attack these speed lines. So if I want to be conservative and say that there's going to be some rattling on the vibration levels on the way up, I still have aggressive price targets to the upside. Most bullish outcome, again, is during November to see not only an attack of this speed line, again, that would be, if it's November, call it 775 to 875. But not only attack of this speed line, but a speed line jump. The speed line then becomes support, and then price continues to melt up toward this child fractal overhead speed line from the expanding megaphone melt up fractal. I know it's a lot, but that's, you know, what's in front of us here, and opens the door to this attack of this 1310 hidden retest level. So this is really what I'm looking at. You've got a lot going on as far as downtrend resistance. This is, again, you see this note off of December 2022 and the February 2023 highs. So price wants to bump into that on the way up too. So it's sort of a bizarre combination of a very, the most bullish type fractals in my work, meaning expanding megaphone melt-up fractal, but some noisiness, meaning vibration levels and downtrends on the way up that are sitting there sort of inside the megaphone. The most bullish setups of these kind of fractals is what happened in 2021 for AMC, where there was a hidden retest sitting inside the expanding megaphone melt-up fractal. I believe it was $21 at the time when the stock was trading $7, I think it was. And so I knew I had that attack level, but that attack level was in the bottom end of the fractal and the expanding megaphone melt-up fractal. And then there was just blue skies all the way up to that that level we hit 70 or whatever it was. So that was an example of a, you know, expanding megaphone melt-up fractal and a blue sky setup. This is this is two expanding megaphone melt-up fractals, but not a blue sky setup in either one on the way up to this, you know, potential target of 1310. That's it from my side. 14 minute long video. Hope that helped. I'm going to do probably a space today and then start talking more about this stock. This moves AMC to the top of my list. Probably percentage gain potential, moves it really above these other tickers that I've been talking about that I think still look bullish, but probably either take a little more time or do not have the percentage upside potential that AMC has. So that's it from my side. Good luck, everybody.